When we think about aging, we usually focus on what we can see: wrinkles, stiff joints, slower memory, or heart problems. But the real control center of aging is often your liver. Your liver sits quietly under your ribs on the right side, and it controls many key processes that decide whether your body stays healthy or slowly moves toward disease. After years working in emergency medicine, I've seen heart attacks, strokes, diabetes complications, and kidney failure again and again. And when you trace these problems back, they often start with the same root issue: metabolic dysfunction, and the liver is where it begins. Aging isn't just getting older, it's damage building up inside your body over time. Your liver is the organ that either helps control that damage or allows it to grow. Most people think the liver only processes alcohol or removes toxins, but it does far more than that. In this guide, you'll learn why your liver is so important for longevity, how it gets damaged without warning signs, and the simple steps you can take to heal it. Because the good news is, your liver can recover if you treat it right. Before we start, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Just drop your state or city in the comments below. It helps us feel like one community here, learning together and supporting one another. And if you have any natural health tips of your own, feel free to share those too. Someone else might really benefit from hearing what's worked for you. Part 1: The Metabolic Traffic Controller. To understand why your liver matters so much for healthy aging, we have to move past the idea that it is just a filter. You need to visualize your liver as a highly intelligent metabolic traffic controller. Imagine a busy intersection in a major city. There are cars, trucks, and pedestrians coming from every direction. There is a controller in the center making split-second decisions. You go left, you stop, you park here, you go express to the highway. Your liver performs this exact role for every single nutrient that enters your body. Every time you eat a meal, a flood of nutrients enters your bloodstream. You have glucose, sugar from carbohydrates, amino acids from proteins, and fatty acids from fats. The very first major processing station these nutrients encounter is the liver, and your liver faces a fundamental decision about each one. 1. Burn it. Should I use this energy right now for immediate fuel? 2. Store it. Should I save this for later use, like putting money in a savings account? 3. Transform it. Should I turn this nutrient into something else the body needs? 4. Export it. Should I package this up and ship it to the muscles, the brain, or the heart? The flexible liver versus the rigid liver. When you are young and metabolically healthy, your liver is what we call metabolic flexible. This means it makes these decisions brilliantly and dynamically based on what your body needs at that exact moment. For example, if you have just finished a long walk or a session in the garden, your liver knows your muscles are tired. So when you eat, it directs nutrients specifically toward muscle repair. If you haven't eaten for a few hours and your energy tank is running low, the liver seamlessly switches gears to release stored energy to keep your brain sharp. If you are eating fewer calories than usual, the liver shifts to burning fat for fuel. It is a responsive, adaptive system. It flows like water. However, as we age, and more specifically as we accumulate metabolic damage, the liver loses this flexibility. It becomes rigid. Instead of making intelligent decisions based on your needs, a damaged liver gets stuck in one mode: storage and fat creation. Even if you are already carrying excess weight, and even if your body doesn't need more energy stored, a dysfunctional liver will default to turning food into fat. This loss of appropriate decision making is one of the core drivers of biological aging. When the traffic controller stops directing traffic correctly, the city creates a traffic jam. In your body, that traffic jam looks like high blood sugar, high cholesterol, and belly fat. Beyond digestion, the liver's other crucial jobs. Before we discuss how the liver gets damaged, it is important to appreciate just how much it does for you when you aren't eating. The glucose guardian. Between meals, your brain still needs fuel. Your liver stores a supply of sugar, called glycogen, and releases it in a steady drip to keep your brain functioning and your mood stable. If the liver is sick, this regulation fails, leading to energy crashes and brain fog. The hormone balancer. As we age, our hormones change. But did you know the liver is responsible for clearing used hormones out of your blood? It filters out estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol, the stress hormone. If your liver is sluggish, these hormones can accumulate to toxic levels, leading to mood swings, weight gain, and sleep issues. The inflammation fighter. A healthy liver breaks down inflammatory byproducts that would otherwise damage your tissues. It keeps the fire of inflammation under control. Every major pathway to living a long, healthy life runs through the liver. Part 2. The silent epidemic. It's not just about alcohol. When I mention liver disease to my older patients, they often get defensive. But Dr. Alex, they say, I hardly drink alcohol at all, maybe a glass of wine at Christmas, but that's it. This is the biggest misconception about liver health. While alcohol is certainly hard on the liver, the central switch that flips your liver from healthy to dysfunctional in the modern world is actually the accumulation of fat inside the liver cells. This condition is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. It has become shockingly common. Current estimates suggest that roughly 25% to 30% of adults in developed countries have it. Among seniors, the number is likely higher. Most people have absolutely no idea they have it because they have never been tested and they have no pain. Why fatty liver is dangerous. You might be thinking, okay, so I have a little fat in my liver. I have a little fat on my hips too. What's the big deal? The critical thing to understand is that fatty liver is not a cosmetic issue. It is not like having a spare tire around your waist. Liver fat is metabolically active. It fundamentally changes how the organ functions. When fat cells pack into your liver, they don't just sit there. They gum up the works. They interfere with the cellular machinery. Specifically, they cause the liver to stop listening to signals from the rest of the body. This leads us to the root cause of most modern aging diseases, insulin resistance. The insulin connection. Let's simplify the concept of insulin. Insulin is a hormone produced by your pancreas. Think of insulin as a delivery driver who knocks on the doors of your cells to deliver a package of glucose, energy. Under normal circumstances, insulin knocks on the liver's door and the liver opens up to accept the energy or stop producing its own glucose. But when your liver cells are stuffed full of fat, they change the locks. The delivery driver, insulin, knocks and knocks, but the liver doesn't open the door. This is insulin resistance. Because the liver isn't listening, two disastrous things happen. 1. The liver keeps making sugar. Even though you just ate and your blood sugar is already high, the deaf liver thinks you are starving, so it keeps pumping more sugar into your bloodstream. 2. The pancreas overworks. Your pancreas notices that blood sugar is still high. It thinks, maybe the liver didn't hear me, so it screams louder. It pumps out massive amounts of insulin to try to force the liver to respond. This creates a state of chronic hyperinsulinemia, constantly high insulin levels. This is the starting point for the cascade of aging. This is where type 2 diabetes begins. This is where visceral fat, belly fat, starts accumulating. This is where blood pressure starts creeping up. These aren't separate old age diseases. They are downstream consequences of the same upstream problem, a fatty, insulin-resistant liver. Part 3. The domino effect of aging. Once your liver becomes insulin-resistant and your blood sugar remains chronically elevated, the damage becomes systemic. It spreads from the liver to every corner of your body. Let's look at exactly how a dysfunctional liver accelerates aging in the 3 areas seniors care about most: the heart, the brain, and the muscles. 1. The rusty body, glycation and inflammation. When you have high sugar circulating in your blood because your liver isn't managing it properly, a process called glycation occurs. Imagine spilling syrup on a counter and letting it dry. It becomes sticky and hard. Glycation is essentially the same thing happening inside your body. Glucose molecules randomly attach themselves to proteins in your blood and tissues. These sugar-coated proteins are called advanced glycation end products, which has the appropriate acronym AGEs. These AGEs gum up your body. They make your blood vessels stiff, leading to high blood pressure. They damage the lens of your eye, contributing to cataracts. They degrade the collagen in your skin, causing deep wrinkles, and, most painfully, in your joints. If you feel stiff and achy, it might not just be wear and tear. It might be the accumulation of these AGEs caused by metabolic dysfunction. Furthermore, this state creates chronic inflammation. Your immune system sees these AGEs and this liver fat as a threat. It releases inflammatory molecules, like cytokines, to fight back. But because the fat is always there, the fight never ends. You end up with low-grade inflammation simmering throughout your body 24/7. This is often called inflammaging. 2. The brain, preventing cognitive decline. The brain is incredibly vulnerable to liver dysfunction. In fact, many researchers now refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because it is so closely linked to how the brain processes energy. Your brain is a fuel-hungry organ. It requires a massive amount of glucose to function. However, if you are insulin resistant because of your liver, your brain cells also struggle to absorb glucose. Essentially, parts of your brain begin to starve, even if there is plenty of sugar in your blood. Additionally, the inflammation we just talked about damages the delicate blood vessels that supply the brain. Studies consistently show us that people with insulin resistance in midlife have significantly higher rates of cognitive decline and dementia later in life. Your brain's aging trajectory is being set by your metabolic health today. If you want to keep your memory sharp, you must keep your liver healthy. 3. The muscle crisis, sarcopenia. This is perhaps the most overlooked connection, but for seniors, it is arguably the most important. As we age, we naturally lose some muscle mass. This process is called sarcopenia. However, a fatty liver puts the accelerator pedal on muscle loss. Muscles act as a sponge for glucose. They are the biggest consumer of sugar in your body. When you have healthy muscles, they suck up excess blood sugar, sparing the liver. But when your liver is constantly dumping excess glucose and fat into the blood, your muscles eventually become insulin resistant too. They stop responding to the signals that tell them to grow and repair. The anabolic growth signals get blunted. The result is that you lose muscle faster. And because you have less muscle, you can't dispose of blood sugar as well, which makes the liver worse. It is a vicious cycle. Muscle loss is the number one predictor of frailty and loss of independence. People who maintain muscle live longer and stay out of nursing homes, but you cannot maintain muscle effectively if your liver is creating a hostile hormonal environment. Part 4. How do you know if you have it? One of the most dangerous aspects of liver disease is how quietly it progresses. Your liver has an enormous reserve capacity. You can lose half of your liver function before you feel a single symptom. Unlike your joints, which hurt when they are damaged, or your stomach, which aches when it's upset, your liver has very few pain fibers. It suffers in silence. By the time people develop obvious symptoms like yellow skin, jaundice, severe fatigue, or fluid swelling in the belly, the disease is often in its end stages. We cannot wait for symptoms. We must be proactive. Since most people aren't getting regular ultrasounds or MRI scans to check for liver fat, how can you know the state of your liver? You can get a remarkably good sense of your liver health by looking at a few basic measurements. The warning signs. 1. Waist circumference. This is surprisingly predictive. There are two types of fat: subcutaneous, the jiggly fat under your skin, and visceral, the hard fat around your organs. Visceral fat and liver fat track together closely. If your waist is expanding, specifically if you have a pot belly or if your waist measures more than half your height, you are almost certainly accumulating fat in your liver. 2. Triglycerides. When you get a blood test, look at your lipid panel. Ignore the total cholesterol for a moment and look at the triglycerides. When your liver is dysfunctional and making too much fat, it packages that fat into triglycerides and shoots them into the bloodstream. If your triglycerides are elevated, above 150 milligrams DL, especially if your good cholesterol, HDL, is low, that is a massive red flag for fatty liver. 3. Fasting glucose and HbA1c. These measure your blood sugar. HbA1c tells you your average blood sugar over the last 3 months. If these numbers are creeping up toward the pre-diabetic range, it means your liver is struggling to handle insulin. 4. Liver enzymes, ALT and AST. These are the standard liver function tests doctors run. Here is the trick: they can be normal even if you have fatty liver. But if they are creeping up over the years, even if they are still technically in the normal range, that trend matters. The cluster effect. Don't look for one single smoking gun. Look for the cluster. If your waist is getting a bit bigger, your blood pressure is a little high, your triglycerides are 160, and your sugar is borderline high, you have metabolic dysfunction. You have a liver that needs help. Part 5. The great news: reversal is possible. Now, take a deep breath. I have shared a lot of scary information about how damage happens, but here's the best news you will read all day. Liver fat is highly reversible, and it responds remarkably quickly. Unlike heart disease, atherosclerosis, which takes decades to build up and is very hard to scrub away, or joint arthritis, which is often permanent, liver fat is dynamic. Your liver wants to heal. It is the only organ in the body that can fully regenerate itself. If you make the right changes, you can decrease liver fat substantially within just a few weeks, often before you even see a big change on the bathroom scale. By clearing the fat out of your liver, you hit the reset button on your metabolic age. You restore that flexibility. You lower your risk of diabetes, heart attack, and dementia. So, how do we do it? The root cause: it's not dietary fat. To fix the problem, we have to know what caused it. Despite what we were told in the 1980s and 90s, eating fat does not necessarily cause fatty liver. The driver of liver fat is sugar and refined carbohydrates. When you eat more carbohydrates than your body can burn or store as glycogen, energy reserves, your liver has no choice. It converts that excess glucose into fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis, literally, new fat creation. This newly created fat is deposited right there in the liver. Fructose is the worst offender. Fructose is the sugar found in fruit, but it is also half of table sugar and 55% of high fructose corn syrup. Unlike glucose, which every cell in your body can use for energy, fructose can only be processed by the liver. When you drink a soda, a sweetened iced tea, or even a large glass of orange juice, you are hitting your liver with a fructose bomb. It overwhelms the liver's machinery, and the liver immediately starts turning it into fat. Liquid sugar is the most dangerous because it bypasses your fullness signals. You can drink 1,000 calories of soda and not feel full. So if you want to protect your liver, here are the 3 fundamental interventions that matter more than anything else. Part 6. Your liver longevity plan. We are not going to talk about expensive supplements, cold plunges, or complicated biohacks. Real longevity is built on the foundation of daily habits. Intervention. 1. Reduce the insulin demand, change what you eat. We need to stop flooding the liver with sugar. Cut the liquid sugar. This is non-negotiable. Stop drinking soda, sweet tea, energy drinks, and fruit juices. If you put sugar in your coffee, taper it down. Drink water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee. This single change can transform liver health. Reduce refined carbs. White bread, white pasta, white rice, and crackers turn into sugar almost instantly in your blood. Swap them for whole foods. Prioritize protein. At every meal, start with the protein: eggs, chicken, fish, beef, yogurt, beans. Protein does 2 things. It provides the building blocks for your muscles, and it keeps you full. It does not spike your insulin. Embrace fiber. Eat vegetables that grow above the ground: greens, broccoli, peppers. Fiber forms a gel in your gut that slows down the absorption of sugar, giving your liver a break. A note on fruit. Whole fruit is fine in moderation because it contains fiber. An apple is good, apple juice is bad. The fiber in the apple prevents the sugar from hitting your liver all at once. Intervention 2. Time-restricted eating. Change when you eat. Your liver needs a vacation. It cannot work 24 hours a day. If you are snacking from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, your insulin levels never drop. Your liver never gets the signal to switch from store mode to burn mode. I recommend a strategy called time-restricted eating. It sounds fancy, but it is very simple. Close the kitchen. Try to eat all your meals within an 8 to 12 hour window. For example, breakfast at 9:00 a.m., dinner finished by 7:00 p.m., no food after dinner. That last point is crucial. Avoiding late-night snacking is the most important part of this. When you eat right before bed, you are about to be inactive for 8 hours. Your body doesn't need that energy, so your liver will take that late-night toast or bowl of ice cream and turn it directly into fat while you sleep. Give your body a 12-hour break every night. This allows your insulin to drop low enough that your liver can start cleaning house and burning off its stored fat. Intervention 3. Muscle maintenance. How you move. We talked about how muscle protects the liver. Now you need to build and keep that muscle. Walking is wonderful. We will talk about that in a moment. But walking alone is not enough to stop muscle loss. You need resistance training. Many seniors hear resistance training and think of bodybuilders throwing heavy iron around a gym. That is not what I mean. I mean moving your muscles against resistance to tell your body, I still need this tissue. Sit to stands. Stand up from a chair and sit back down without using your hands. Do this 10 times. That is a squat. Carrying groceries. Carrying weight creates tension in your muscles. Wall push-ups. Lean against a wall and push yourself away. Resistance bands. These are cheap, safe, and effective for strengthening arms and legs. Muscle tissue is metabolically active. The more muscle you have, the better your glucose control and the less fat your liver will accumulate. The bonus amplifiers. Beyond those 3 core pillars, diet, timing, muscle, here are 3 smaller habits that amplify your results. 1. The post-dinner walk. This is a magic trick for blood sugar. If you go for a 15-minute walk immediately after dinner, your muscles will use the glucose from your meal while it is still in your bloodstream. It prevents the big sugar spike. It takes the workload off your liver. Make this a daily ritual. 2. Sleep quality. Poor sleep makes you insulin resistant the very next day. It elevates cortisol, stress hormone, which tells the liver to store fat. Prioritize getting 7 to 8 hours of rest. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. 3. Rethink alcohol. I know this can be tough, but remember, alcohol is metabolized almost entirely in the liver. It creates oxidative stress and inflammation. If you already have a fatty liver, alcohol is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Even moderate drinking can prevent your liver from healing. Try to have several alcohol free days a week or reserve it only for special occasions. What I find difficult about the modern conversation on longevity is that it has become cluttered with noise. People are selling expensive pills, complicated diet protocols, and high tech gadgets. But real health, the kind that allows you to play with your grandchildren, travel without pain, and keep your mind sharp, is built on biology, not technology. Your liver is the gatekeeper. When your liver works properly, everything downstream works better. Your heart, your brain, your joints, and your energy levels all rely on the metabolic decisions your liver makes every minute of the day. If you ignore your liver, no amount of medication or supplements can fully compensate for the damage. You can exercise, but you won't build muscle as well. You can do crossword puzzles, but your brain will still struggle for fuel. But if you protect your liver, if you cut the sugar, close the kitchen early, and move your muscles, you slow aging at its source. You are not just preventing disease, you are hitting the reset button. You are giving your body the chance to regain the flexibility and resilience it had years ago. It is never too late to start. Your liver is ready to heal. It's just waiting for you to give it a break. My name is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Here's to your health.